Hello there folks, my name is Spunks and I saw Beetlejuice, and I really liked it. Now I was very looking forward to this movie. I loved the first Beetlejuice. It's obviously one of my favorite movies to watch around Halloween. It's weird, it's creepy, it's odd, and that's why I love it so much. It's such in its own world and of its creepy weirdness that I just love it. And of course the character is just such a blast to watch unleash his chaos, and I'm also a fan of the cartoon as well. I think that show is also very entertaining. But when I heard they were actually doing this sequel, I was obviously concerned. It's been so long since the last film. Can they still bring the magic? Tim Burton hasn't really made a good movie in a while. And while this doesn't really top the first one in my opinion, I still had a delightful time with Beetlejuice. I thought it was a really solid sequel. This movie is just really fun and entertaining. After its first 30 minutes, which I'll discuss more at length later, but the first 30 minutes are very rough in my opinion. But once a big reveal happens, that is when the movie starts to really get going and starts to feel like a really solid, fun Beetlejuice sequel. The story and the world and how it connects to the first one gets a bit more clearer, and it starts to show itself as a Beetlejuice sequel that actually lives up to the potential and the hype that we were all hoping it would live up to. It, like I said, with the first film, it's very creepy, odd, and weird. It dabbles in the macabre and the disturbing in its own fun, unique way that doesn't make you feel uncomfortable. Well, there are certain sequences that do make you feel a bit uncomfortable, a bit uneasy, but it never crosses the line or anything. It's so odd and mysterious with its tone and the way it delivers its comedy. It's very dark comedy, I might add, but it makes it fun and entertaining, and you have a blast watching it. I laughed out loud a lot during the movie, especially with Beetlejuice himself. Michael Keaton just brings his A game. It's almost like it hasn't even, it's like as if he never retired the character. He's just as crazy, insane, creepy as he was back in the 80s, and you could tell he's just loving bringing this character back. But also Catherine O'Hara is also one of the big scene stealers of the movie. Even during the rough patch this movie has in its first 30 minutes, she delivered the best jokes, the best lines every time she was on screen. Oh my god, it was like the movie came to life, and she brought that light and energy with her every time. She made the most out of the comedy and her character. Oh my god, she was such a delight. I also love the use of practical and special effects here. There's not really an over-reliance on CG. A lot of it is done with makeups or practical effects, and even some stop motion and puppetry that I thought was really inventive and creative and stuff we typically don't see in big blockbusters like this anymore. So it really made this film stand on its own and add to the weirdness and the bizarreness of the film. And I also really liked the characters a lot in this movie. I've obviously mentioned the man, the myth himself, Beetlejuice, and Catherine O'Hara, but also, you know, I like what they did with Winona Ryder's character. I thought the way they continued her story and where she is in life, I thought was really interesting to dive deep into. I liked Jenna Ortega as the movie went on. At first, again, the writing was not great, and she was just coming off as the typical teenage daughter who resents her mother, and I was like, oh god, is she gonna be like this the whole movie? But no, as she gets further into this world and uncovering some secrets, she becomes a lot more interesting. And I really think, once again, Jenna Ortega does a great job with the character. It's not like she's Wednesday again. She's not Wednesday again. I definitely understand why people may have thought of that, but she is not that, and I really liked her, and she brought her unique energy to the film. I also really like Justin Theroux as the new boyfriend. He's so, he plays it in a certain type of, fake love interest type of way that I found very entertaining, and it was the right amount of cartoonish to where he felt cartoony, but not like a cartoon character, if you know what I mean. He brought some good jokes in here too. But now on to the negatives with this movie. As I've been saying multiple times already, the first 30 minutes of this movie is not very good, honestly. And this may sound blasphemous, but it was reminding me a lot of Frozen Empire. There was just so much setup, and there were so many characters, old and new, and it felt like the film was never gonna get going. I chuckled here and there, and I definitely laughed at Catherine O'Hara and Beetlejuice's shenanigans, but during this segment, it was too little too late. I was super worried this was just gonna be like another legacy sequel cashing in on a property that was beloved by many, and thankfully the film does find its footing as soon as that big reveal. But that first 30 minutes, I was worried. I was like, oh my god, this is reminding me of that last Ghostbusters movie. But thankfully it didn't do that. But another problem this movie faces is what a lot of sequels do, and that is they cram too much into this movie. There are just way too many plot lines and subplots going on in this movie. And while I didn't hate any of them, again, as the movie went on, they embraced the wackiness and silliness of them to make it entertaining and enjoyable. Even though, again, there was way too much of them. I think they could have cut down on them. Some of them you could take it out of the film and it would not change a thing. And some of them I just straight up forgot about. When they came back, I was like, oh yeah, this was going on in this movie. But otherwise, I still had a really good time with Beetlejuice. Again, it's not as good as the original, and it does have some problems. The first 30 minutes, oh my god, that's easily the worst part of the movie. And definitely way too much going on in this movie. They really needed to trim the fat. I still had a really solid time with this movie. It gave me pretty much what I wanted. A funny, weird, odd, strange little horror comedy right in time for spooky season, and I ate it up. I was laughing the whole way through. I loved the special effects. I loved the characters. The story, once it finds its footing, meets the expectations and becomes really fun and entertaining. Definitely something to go check out, especially if you're in the mood for spooky season. This is definitely a great way to kick off your spookathon if you have one of those like me. I'd say go check it out. It's not a must-watch, nothing you should rush out to see, but if you are really interested and you like the first one or even the cartoon, I'd say go check it out. I had a good time with it. So those are my thoughts on Beetlejuice. What did you all think of it if you've seen it? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Comment down below and let me know. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you like this channel, hit the subscribe button. Follow me on all the social media links at the end of the video. And until next time, everyone, stay sharp.